You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, YNR fans, I've got your early edition spoilers for September 9th through the 13th. We're going to see Sharon completely snapping, Claire blushing for a very good reason, and Billy Abbott just drowning. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and before we dive into all the good stuff for next week, we're going to just real quick take you through what is coming the rest of this week, just to give you some context and get you up to speed. By now, you should have seen at least Monday and Tuesday's episode where Sally dumps Adam. Lily asks Victor to help her take down Billy. Chance is thinking about quitting his job. Adam's blaming everything on Chelsea. There's a lot of good stuff. And then that takes us to the action on Wednesday, September 4th. So Lucy Romalotti has just been a problem child lately. You know, she snuck booze to the concert, the same concert she lied and said Daniel couldn't go to so she could talk Faith into taking his ticket. And then, of course, Lucy stole a bottle of vodka from a bar and got completely wasted. Looks like she, was driving. I don't know what I missed about the driving, but at any rate, because she doesn't even have a license. And Heather and Daniel drop the hammer on Lucy and tell her the repercussions of what's happening. In addition to being grounded, she can't get her learner's permit for another year. They're going to sit on that. They want her to donate $250 of her own money to the charity associated with Cassie Newman. And they want her to do a whole pile of community service / volunteer work. And Lucy is furious. She just stomps away from them. She has had enough. Summer Newman is nearby and hears this and approaches her big brother Daniel and Heather and talks to them about it. And they are wondering, does Summer think we're being too harsh? But in fact, Summer thinks that they kind of let Lucy off too light, and she has a recommended punishment. She thinks Lucy should have to sit down and write a letter of apology to Faith, to Sharon, and to Nick to apologize to her and her parents for putting her at risk. And Summer says this should make her think more about the consequences of her actions. And it might, but she's a teenager. We've all been there. The brains don't work real well, until you're like mid-20s, if I'm being honest, So Phyllis shows up to see Faith at the hospital on Wednesday. She's got a teddy bear. She's there being super nice. Sharon does not want her there. And she at first tells Phyllis, Faith's asleep. But then when Faith hears Phyllis's voice, she wants to talk to her. And Sharon doesn't want her around her. But Nick's like, no, I think it's a good idea. That ticks Sharon off. And then when Phyllis is talking to Faith and said that Lucy is not to blame for this accident, Sharon gets really mad. And I think that's up for debate, because if Lucy hadn't been drunk in the park and texted Faith to come get her, none of this would have happened. And then Faith got her into the car, and then Lucy started vomiting everywhere, which is what made Faith reach for the towel and lose control. So no, there is definitely a straight line between Lucy's actions and Faith winding up in this crash. So meanwhile, Sharon is not only irritated about Phyllis saying these things to Lucy, to Faith about Lucy, but Sharon is jealous when she sees Phyllis talking to Nick, and Phyllis reaches out and touches Nick's face. She's making this little gesture while she's telling him what a good dad he is. And then boom, her imaginary friend Cameron Kirsten is there, and he is telling Sharon they need to face some consequences. So he is definitely about to spur her into bad things. Meanwhile, Billy is trying to juggle running everything at Abbott Chancellor alone, when we know Lily has been pretty much running it herself, because Billy was off gallivanting for a while. He's been very distracted with Chelsea, and it seems like Billy isn't quite the juggler that Lily was, because he is not doing very well. And then Katie Abbott shows up. He had forgotten they had lunch scheduled, so Billy takes off to have lunch with her. But then while Katie tries to talk to him about this athletic thing and school, Billy is just distracted by phone calls, by emails, and Katie loses it, and she calls him out for ignoring her. And he does realize that he is probably not doing the best job at being a dad while he is in this crisis. And by the way, it's a crisis he created. Meanwhile, Chance talks to Summer, and he reveals that he already had this discussion with Billy about, he He's not sure he wants to stay at Abbott Chancellor. He thinks things are volatile. He's not sure he can trust Billy. He's not sure that Billy trusts him and thinks he might fire him like he fired Lily. And so Chance tells Summer that he is having these issues with continuing to work for Billy at Abbott Chancellor, and he's considering a unique approach to this. So we'll see how that goes. Thursday, September 5th, Kyle confesses something to Claire. He asks to talk to her, and I feel like he's probably going to tell her that he's into her, maybe ask her for the date. This has obviously been building for a while. Nikki trots over to see Victor, and she has picked up some scoop about Billy that she wants to deliver. And I wonder if she's going to get this scoop from Jack, because Lily sits down with Jack on Thursday at the GCAC and catches him up on some of the things his brother has been doing. And Jack is quite disturbed, quite worried. I'm sure she's going to tell him that Billy has gone just hyper paranoid, controlling, crazy, and that he fired her. All of that will be absolutely stunning for Jack to hear. Friday, September 6th, Lucy is mad about losing her driver's license privileges for a year, mad about all the punishment. She stormed off. She agreed to do therapy, but then she was kind of mad about that too. And so Lucy circles back around to talk to her dad, Daniel, and I'm sure she's trying to wiggle out of some of the consequences of her actions, but we're going to see some tough love as Daniel stands very firm with Lucy about what's going to happen based on the choices she made. And Nick Newman heads over to talk to his parents. He wants some advice from Victor and Nikki, and I am wondering if it is about Sharon and what's going on with her. That would be my guess. And Diane is just so upset and so worked up about Kyle continuing to withdraw from her and Jack, and she just wants to find some way to get through to him. Then the week of September 9th through the 13th, Billy Abbott is he's in over his head. Lily seems to have been a lot better at multitasking and running the company alone, because she was running it alone for a while before Jill insisted that Billy come in and all that. But somehow Billy is not managing as well as Lily was, and hopefully he's going to realize that he is out of his depth and has taken on too much, bit off more than he can chew, all those cliches, and maybe he will put someone in place to help him. I wonder if it might be Chance. Jack and Diane evaluate their plans to crush Glissade because they don't want Victor to continue having influence over Kyle, and since they now know Victor is bankrolling Glissade, crushing Glissade, they see will sever the tie between Victor and Kyle. The problem is Jack has got to realize that if Glissade tanks, Kyle's going to blame them and he's going to be even angrier. I just wonder if Claire might be the key to pulling this family back together. Lucy continues to push back on her parents. Adam continues to push back on Sally. He is not ready to give up. He will not take no for an answer, but she is very insistent and tells Adam, it is over. No more chances. You burned the bridge. I'm done. Billy wants to forgive Chelsea, but it doesn't look like he can, just because he despises Adam so much. And I do wonder if he and Sally spending time together commiserating might make their partners jealous. Look for Claire and Kyle to have a real first date soon. Watch for Cameron to work Sharon up into an absolute frenzy. And the big question is Phyllis going to be a primary target or just collateral damage? Because Sharon and Phyllis are both in danger soon. And Lily is about to realize that not only is Billy a big problem for the future of Abbott Chancellor and for what Jill wants to honor Catherine's legacy, but so is Victor Newman, and Lily should never have made a deal with that devil. Those are all of our early weekly spoilers for Y&R. Please drop your comments. Please subscribe if you're not already, and definitely come back soon. It is me, Belinda from Soap Dirt, talking Young and the Restless with you 7 days a week.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.